Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for tuning into this refuel. As you know, this week we're talking about the whole armor of God. And today we're going to be looking at one specific piece that holds everything together. It's found in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 14. It says this: "Stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist." All of us know the importance of wearing a belt day in and day out. If you've ever put on a pair of pants that was too large and forgot your belt at home, you know the inconvenience of having to hold your pants up all day long. As Paul is talking about the belt of truth, he wants us to know that truth is the very thing that holds everything else together. If you want your marriage to be held together, you have to look at truth. If you want your family to be held together, you have to look at truth. If you want your life to be held together, you got to hold on to the truth of God's word. Without the belt of truth, it will be impossible for you to live the life that God has designed for you, because you'll be living outside of truth. And when you live outside of truth, everything else in your life crumbles. I know the reality of making sure that you hold on to truth so that things don't crumble in your life. Many years ago, when my wife and I got married, we went to a store called IKEA. We wanted to find a bookshelf for us to put in our brand new home. And as we went throughout that store, who I don't know who designed it because they got a dishwasher next to a bed, we finally found the bookshelf that we were looking for. Once we got that bookshelf number, we went down into the basement, found the bookshelf, brought it home. My wife went to another room, and I was left to put that bookshelf together by myself. I opened up the box, took all the contents out of the box, took the manual, threw it to the side because I'm a man. What do I need with a manual? I saw what the bookshelf looked like at the store. I figured I could build it on my own. There's no need for me to consult a manual, taking unnecessary steps when I could just put it together on my own. As I began to put that bookshelf together, I finally got it in place, and I noticed that it was leaning a bit. My wife came out of the room, said, "Why is it leaning?" I said, "Hey, don't you worry about it. There's no problem at all." And I took that bookshelf and I leaned it against the wall to help it stand strong. Over the months, as we put books on that bookshelf, it began to crumble and it eventually fell to the ground. Why? Because I was a man and I didn't consult the manufacturer's manual. And I put something together in my own efforts, following the steps that I wanted to take, not looking at the truth of what the manufacturer said. And as a result, everything crumbled to the ground. As it relates to life, many of us build our lives without consulting the manual of God's word. When we look at the truth of God's word will hold every aspect of our lives together. Perhaps you've got some areas of your life right now that are crumbling to the ground. My simple question for you is, have you consulted the truth of God's word? God's truth will hold you up. God's truth will sustain you. God's truth will give you hope. God's truth will encourage you. It is God's truth that will hold up your life when other lives around you may be crumbling. My challenge for you today is to find out what is true in God's word and live in that truth. The problem with our world today is that many of us consult our own truths, or we try to find our own ways in life when God has provided all we need for living in righteousness. So today, my challenge to you is simple. Consult God's word, read his manual, and build a life that lasts. Thanks for tuning in.